Hey, what's going on? My name is Jack Lane. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Avengers Secret Wars. Yes, the film doesn't release until 2027. However, there's a couple of things that I've seen online, most notably from the comic book cast too. They made a video on it and I watched it and I thought it's all very interesting them saying this, but is there any information behind it that is reliable? Well, yes and no. So I'm gonna click on an article here. We've got an article pulled up. It's from World of Real, your place for alternate movie news. And the article states this, okay? If I just go down, it goes Avengers Secret Wars to be split into two movies, 5 hours total. According to a news report by the In Snyder, Avengers Secret Wars will be a giant 5 hour movie with a year-long intermission. So it'll be split into two parts, 2.5 hour movies. This suggests that its current slated date of May 7th, 2027 will quickly followed by Avengers Secret Wars Part 2 in 2028. This was released in December of last year. So after the whole Jonathan Major things where Avengers Kang Dynasty was then changed to Avengers 5, we now know it's Avengers Doomsday. This makes sense that they do it. Like this isn't new news, I guess, because it was rumored back then. But why haven't they announced that? There's a couple of reasons why they might not have announced it yet. Because I feel like at the moment with Marvel, they're building to something big with Doomsday. And then they're building something even bigger with Secret Wars to end off the franchise. Or end off the series that we know and love at the moment. We know there's going to be a soft reboot, a little reboot where new viewers can jump on without having to watch 20 years worth of content. And I think that's very smart, as long as it still has some of the connected tissue to the other Avengers films. Now, when we talk about Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2, the possibilities of Part 2, it does make quite a lot of sense because Avengers Secret Wars is a huge thing in the comics that rebooted timelines, that changed things forever. And being a two-parter film would mean that Marvel have one, more time to think how they're going to do the soft reboot, but two, it would give them longer to tell a story. I don't believe it'll be 2.5 hour movies each. I think it's going to be like Endgame, where it's 3 hours and then 3 hours again for Secret Wars. I think there's strong possibilities they also do this because Avengers Secret Wars Part 2 would release in 2028 around May sort of time, which, if you didn't know, May 2nd even, of 2008 was the first time Iron Man, the first ever movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, released. So there is a lot to go on here. Like, there is in 2028, it'll be 20 years by the time the film releases. It would make a lot of sense that this would be a true thing. IMDb also have it that there's a potential for Part 2. And I think the movies have been written. You know, Secret Wars is being written at the moment. Doomsday's being written, and then they're both going to be directed by the same directors. But I do think this was something that was always on the cards for Marvel. A two-parter to end 20 years, and then come back and do it again for another 20. I watched the video, the comic book cast said, and I'm thinking, it makes sense, but why haven't they announced it? And I honestly think the logical reason is they haven't announced anything past Avengers Secret Wars in 2027 because they don't want to get too far ahead of themselves. They haven't even announced the 3-4 films that they've still got slated yet. So it makes perfect sense for them to be like, we're not going to announce anything, especially when they're going to be like Blade that's in hell production. We're not going to announce a second part just yet. The second part announcement, I will say this, will probably come in 2025 if they are to do a second part. it makes sense from what I see in the comic book world when this video came out. A lot of people have been like, yeah, okay, I want this. So if fans want it, the studio wants to do it, putting these things together, it just makes it a bit of a big possibility that this is going to happen. And I wanted to do this video to sort of give my take on it. Would I love for it to happen? 100%. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm 50-50 on it. I always thought Doomsday was a part 1 of the final saga for this multiverse saga, which it is. But there is still there's some ground to cover, I think. And if they do a 5-hour film, Marvel are going to split it up into 2. And I think Secret Wars, how big of a story it is in the comics, they're going to have to split it up, or they're going to have to do a 4-hour film anyway. Because Doomsday's got 60 cast members in already. This one is most likely going to have 100 plus, just because it's the final movie of the multiverse saga. It's the final movie of this series as we know it. So everything that's sort of being spoken about at the moment, there's a little bit of weight behind it. That's why I want to make this video. But I want to hear your thoughts. Like, do you want Avengers Secret Wars to be a part 1 and part 2 event, or do you think Secret Wars is essentially the part 2 because Doomsday is going to be the cliffhanger? Secret Wars is then going to fix all the mistakes that happened in Doomsday, and then we continue on. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like on the video, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and yeah, I mean, I'll be keeping an eye on this story as it sort of develops, because it's a rumor, and I don't really do rumors here, but I thought it was an interesting rumor. So, what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy today's video? Yeah, just let me know. And as always, stay cinematic. See you later. Goodbye.